What's good for thee?
So to piggyback off of that, Joe Biden made some wildly, I don't want to say inaccurate, wild claims last week that aside from COVID-19, which is a true public health crisis because it actually affects your health, he claimed that white supremacy is the number one health issue within the United States today, despite the consistent uptick in several major cities in black-on-black crimes, including robbery and homicides. He thinks white supremacy is the number one health issue in the United States today. And also, I'm going to double down on this. Lightfoot, the girl from the governor of Chicago, the one who looks like...
Beetlejuice.
Yeah, Beetlejuice, and the kid from Rudy had a kid. She... Sean Astin Green.
It's like Bilbo. I missed.
Dildo Baggins.
Oh, Jesus.
So he's claiming that white supremacy is the number one health issue in the country today. And I could not agree with him more, because whenever I hear the term white supremacy being thrown at issues, I throw up. So it's a physical health reaction. Also, when I hear the term white supremacy in regards to public health issues, I find it hard to achieve an erection afterwards because it's distracting me from my ultimate goal. So there's two health issues I get when I think of Joe Biden and white supremacy.
See a doctor.
I've asked the doctor about this, and she told me to call somebody else.
How?
It was a weird way to start the conversation. Yeah.
Here's the problem. White supremacy. Now, let's first of all wrap our head around what these people consider white supremacists.
And how does it affect health?
They consider us white supremacists. To anybody that knows either one of us, you know that that's absolutely ridiculous in every way.
I'm white, but in no way, shape, or form am I supreme.
We both have happy wives who we treat accordingly. We're not misogynists.
No, we work our asses off. Like there's nothing.
They are trying to make this is more wordplay. This is, okay, anybody that supports Trump or conservatism is a white supremacist at this point.
Yes. Mm-hmm. It's unbelievable.
That's dangerous. It's a dangerous world to live in.
And what I find ironic is that, here I'm jumping ahead a little bit. So number one, I don't know why they're calling it a public health crisis.
Because they always stick to their narratives no matter how stupid it sounds.
It's ridiculous.
Like, just for example, Harris went down to Guatemala and she's trying to explain to these people that the reason for the border crisis is climate issues, climate change. What the...
Absolutely.
They stick to these narratives.
It's too hot down there.
It doesn't match.
These people are melting.
So they want to risk, like, what? Coming here and getting sent back?
Well, and to piggyback off what you said and to add to it, Mayor Lightfoot of Chicago, again, Beetlejuice, she has declared last week publicly that, was it white supremacy? Oh, that racism is a public health emergency. So it's a public health emergency, was her quotes. And she has vowed to divert $10 million of the COVID relief funds that Chicago has received to combat the horrible issue of racism in Chicago. Now, I would suggest giving the right for the police to do their jobs, give them their full capabilities back, give them raises, get them more bodies. And I would start by quarantining and raiding all of the south side of Chicago. I would just start there. How racist is it when you have record numbers of black on black crime in south side of Chicago on a nightly, weekly, and monthly, quarterly, and yearly basis?
That kind of stuff.
Nobody talks about this.
It doesn't give them the enemy that they need.
No. But somehow it's white supremacy and white racism is the public health emergency in Chicago right now.
It doesn't even have to make sense anymore.
I feel like my IQ just went down saying that out loud.
Yeah.
I genuinely do.
Yeah, they're giving answers for questions that don't match anymore.
Mm-hmm. And also, please, $10 million of COVID relief to fight racism. What are you going to do with $10 million? First of all, shouldn't you keep that for the actual health emergency, which is COVID?
You would think, with all these variants and whatnot.
Yes. Nope. She's going to divert $10 million from COVID relief over to fight racism in Chicago. I think what she should do is go see a plastic surgeon, get a little collagen in her cheeks and those black circles around her eyes. She looks like Hamburglar mixed with a raccoon. Like, you need to do something with those circles, and either sleep, get off the pills, or take more pills and just end yourself. Like, I don't really know what you should do, but do something, because you are fugly to the 10th power.
You're on fire tonight.
I am. And I didn't even have a lot of caffeine today. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to title this show I'm going to give the title of this podcast like something completely off the cuff, like a movie review.
Sure.
This, episode, whatever the hell, where we discuss Avengers Endgame.
Oh my God.
All right, let them know what DeSantis is up to. By the way, this guy, if I could be adopted, I'd want to be by DeSantis. DeSantis, yeah.
I mean, I'd love to have him as a governor.
He's awesome.
Yeah, he's sending Florida police to Texas to help out with the border crisis. Texas is doing a lot of work right now. I think they're trying to pass legislation to actually just finish the border wall out of state money.
Yes. And the government doesn't want them to.
No, of course they don't, because then they close up their little hole in the wall and this all stops.
Look, DeSantis, like, Florida's the place to be. I personally, as much as I admire what he's doing down there, I think it's just too hot for me.
Yeah,
it's too hot. I mean, I'm in jam. I sweat in January up here. I'm in the Northeast. Yeah, actually, Texas and Florida. Go ahead, tell them what's going on with the with that new bill.
Texas is signed constitutional carry, which means that you can carry.
They signed
Go ahead and sign it.
7 bills into law to not just make this a thing, but to protect it from every possible angle. So anyone who's interested in this, it's brilliant what Abbott did down there. He not only signed this constitutional carry, so you don't need a license to open carry down there. And this is strictly because the farmers and the ranchers down there are having a massive uptick in illegal immigrants and crime, people trafficking drugs and humans through their farms, their land. But he passed 6 other bills into law in what you can carry, flying within the state. Like, it's incredible. The guy literally completely isolated anyone that wants to carry a handgun. It was brilliantly strategized, rolled out perfectly. The guy is fantastic.
Things need to be taken care of on a state level.
Yeah, dude, big shout out to
states are getting it done.
And that's what people need to realize. Everything that the federal government is doing, because Joe Biden, in my opinion, is nothing more than the executive director of the United States right now. I don't think he's the commander in chief. So to back that statement up, all he's done is pass executive orders.
Yeah, like
which is what he's allowed to do with this, with his limited power. I don't think people realize that from a state level, you can govern your own state how you see fit. So the federal government can literally do nothing about what Abbott's doing in Texas.
Nope. No, they can try.
They could try, but I mean, they're doing that right now. We'll get into this afterwards about what the DOJ is doing with the Arizona audit.
Yep.
So this is actually a pretty cool story. I'm going to make sure I get this young lady's name right. Why don't you read that? I'm going to pull up the video again.
Former porn star trafficked has become a savior for trafficked children, is making podcast rounds to tell her story of being flown to D.C. on 3 occasions to testify in military tribunals against several A-list actors and politicians.
So I'll post a link to this on BitChute, but this woman is making the rounds all over the place. And I've heard her speak before. She was one of the Epstein, not on the Epstein, the special he did on Netflix, but she's talked about him. She talks about him here. She mentions certain people's names that she was brought to Washington to testify against. This all happened in March of 2021. She has very specific details about the tribunals. She could only give certain information, but it was specific information. She couldn't say people's names. She could say that she was in Washington, but not where in Washington, who she was actually sitting in front of, who was in the room with her. You could put 2 and 2 together. Tom H. She was handed off to Tom H. when she was a teenager in a hotel room, and he, when her handler opened the door to pass her off to this individual, first thing he did was punch her in the face and then repeatedly beat her, because a lot of these people, these sick, satanic pieces of shit, they can't achieve an erection or climax.
Violence.
They need to be beating and torturing, and there have to be violence. So Madison Marquette and Claire Hawking O'Kell, they're making the podcast rounds right now. They've been around for a while, but it's Right On Radio on YouTube. Terrific channel. Christian guy, girl. Terrific channel. They do some pretty big interviews, but it's definitely worth a listen. I know it sounds fantastic and out of the realm of possibility, but it was a very, very interesting show. She had a lot of good information. So what she does now, her and her business associate, they work with like Blackwater and so forth, and they work with organizations around the world rescuing children and teenagers who are subjected to human trafficking. Mm-hmm. These are people who are forced into pornography, forced into adult films, into torturous satanic cults. And ironically enough, I might as well just jump right into this other piece of this now, but Pornhub and MindGeek are both being sued right now for the same accusations that this woman is talking about. I thought I wrote that down on here somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, here it is. Pornhub and MindGeek. It's a lawsuit update. Several women have filed a lawsuit against these two websites, claiming that they were involved in her being trafficked and sold to rich men and elites for both torture and sex. So I don't think it's any mystery that these things are all coming out now, given that that's such a hot button topic and it's all over the place. But it's definitely something to keep an eye on, because she mentions some pretty A-list names on there. So it's eye-opening. And look, if you're still at the point in this process where you don't believe that the human trafficking and everything else is real, look, I'm sorry. I don't really know. I don't really know what to say or to do. But just, it's a real thing. And then that's ultimately what, like, our interest started out as, is saving children. So,
who's really, really, really big into the whole child trafficking topic is Tebow.
Yeah.
Tim Tebow Foundation is basically run to, end child trafficking. I don't care. I think he's a hell of a guy. You think what you want about his religion, his kneeling, and this, that, and the other. The kid's all right.
Isn't it amazing that when he was playing the NFL, he caught shit for kneeling to God, but you could kneel to disrespect police and military? That just shows you the state that this country is in right now. Yeah. It's not about this anymore, and it should be, which we're going to get into that 90s has-been singer.
Yeah, there's a lot of vile energy against this country.
There is a huge movement to break down what this country was built and founded on, the blood that was spilled so we can have these liberties, these freedoms, the ability to work, the ability to choose where you work, the ability to choose what food you buy. Yeah. You can literally choose to be whatever you want to be in this world. And I think that's what people mistake. When we say you live in a free country, it's because you are free to do whatever you want with yourself. Absolutely. And I think what's happening right now is we have 2 or 3 generations now of people who want to just be victims and just want to sit back and collect money and do nothing. But the problem with that is at some point the gig is up. Yeah. And your master is going to pull that string and want to return all that money. And you are then at that point,
what are you going to do?
Yeah, you're an indentured servant. You have no skill, no footing, no foundation, nothing to fall back on, no ability to do anything except sit there with your hands out on your knees begging. That ain't for me. I would literally die fighting in the streets before I got to that point.
It's disgusting.
So also last week, in breaking medical news, the CDC is now acknowledging that men and women under the age of 30 are at extremely high risk to experience heart issues if they've received the COVID vaccine. This
one we have to dance very politely around.
We're both vaccinated. We love it. I felt great afterwards. It was phenomenal. I had a nice steak dinner afterwards. It was tremendous. I'm a huge advocate for it. Toes are crossed. But yeah, the World Health Organization also just released a statement yesterday they are also saying that nobody under 30 should be getting this vaccine without further studies. I don't know. It's a trial vaccine. But ironically enough, Brianna's cousin sent me a message today. This is now the 2nd or 3rd college in the state to do this. Rhode Island College, all students will be required to be fully vaccinated against COVID-19 for fall 2021.
Okay, so how do I say this? The vaccine companies have no legal liability, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Aren't you opening yourself up to a lawsuit?
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. The vaccine is an experimental drug. Whether you want to believe that or not is totally irrelevant. This thing has no FDA approval. It hasn't been put through the proper channels, and the only reason they're allowed to give it is because it was issued under an emergency use authorization, which means there's no knowledge as to what this is, what it has, what it could be, what it's going to be. And the vaccination rate's at 45% in this country right now.
Could we just...
Online.
Could we just...
People aren't buying.
No, they're not. But could we also address the fact that the World Health Organization just issued a statement that nobody under 30 should get the vaccine?
Yet.
But...
they're going to stop.
Colleges are forcing you to get it. So to me, that sounds like, okay, so if you have to get the vaccines now, and I feel bad for these kids. These are kids who are in the clinical portion of their nursing program and so forth, whatever the case may be. But now, if you're the school and you're mandating this, aren't you opening yourself up for legal action?
I would hope so.
I pray that they do.
That was the point I was trying to make, and I got all sidetracked. You're forcing people to get an experimental vaccine. Mm-hmm. That's got to be illegal on some level.
I'm going to tell you right now, if I was a college student, if you were something where you had to go to the school, I would sue the school. Well, there's a religious waiver you could sign, so I sent it over to my wife's cousin. Yeah. So there's a religious waiver. So I don't know what type of pushback you'll get for that.